Previously, I had asked you to take a look at Martin Luther King's letter from the Birmingham Jail. This is a classic example of really good persuasive writing. A little background on this piece, of course. This was written in 1963 after King had been jailed for demonstrations, and he was actually writing this letter from jail. So because of this situation, he's in an especially hard place to gain the trust of his reader. It's difficult to get someone's trust when you're in jail, but he does it, and we're going to take a look at the ways in which he does it in looking at roughly the first half of his letter, which is, of course, very long. The first thing I want to take a look at is the way he starts this out, the way he actually addresses his audience for the first time. He says, "My dear fellow clergymen." Just in those four words, there's a lot going on. First of all, he has a very focused audience. He's writing to a specific group of people who have been condemning him for his actions. So he specifically states at the beginning to whom he's writing. Also, his wording there is very important. He says, "my dear," and then he says, "fellow." Those are both very respectful terms, and by using two of them, he makes it even more respectful sounding. By using fellow clergymen, he's also doing something here. He's making a connection to his audience. By saying fellow clergymen, he points out that he himself is a clergyman, that he is a religious man. So he's immediately establishing a connection so that when his readers pick this up, they know from the very start that he has something in common with them, so that they'll feel a kind of bond with him, even if they don't want to. So then looking at the first paragraph here, what he's doing here is he's justifying himself. He's saying, I know I don't have a whole lot of authority writing from jail here, but I actually am an important person. I have a lot of people behind me, and he implies that when he talks about how busy he is and all the work he has to do. And then he talks about why he wanted to answer this audience specifically, which is another way of showing that he respects his audience. He then goes on to justify himself further by talking about why he is there in the Birmingham jail. He then goes on and says, and we're looking at the fifth paragraph here, he says, "You deplore the demonstrations taking place in Birmingham. But your statement, I am sorry to say, fails to express a similar concern for the conditions that brought about the demonstrations. I'm sure that none of you would want to rest content with the superficial kind of social analysis that deals merely with effects and does not grapple with underlying causes." What he's doing here, he's using a lot of really strong wording in saying you deplore the demonstrations taking place. But he keeps this respectful at the same time by saying, but your statement, I am sorry to say, he makes it sound almost as if it's not really their fault. So he's criticizing his audience without putting them off. He then also creates a common bond again when he says, I know that you wouldn't want to rest content with the superficial kind of social analysis. He's essentially saying, I know you're good people, and I know this must make you mad too, even though it doesn't. They're against him in this. He's using kind of a moral thing here and saying, I know we all want things to be equal, right? So this is very, very effective here. Obviously, this is a very long piece, but as you hopefully found throughout this, he keeps readdressing his audience. For example, there's a part where he says, you may well ask, why direct action? He's addressing the reader's concerns before they can even express them. And he's making them feel assured by raising their questions and then answering them for them. So this is a very effective technique as well. So like I said in general, when you're trying to create a connection to an audience, you want to show them that you have something in common, and you want to respect them and keep addressing them throughout your essay. And this is a very good essay to reference for that.